In 1938, a clay pot in Iraq lit up like a battery, but scholars buried the discovery, and the reason why is stranger than the jar itself. A German archaeologist named Wilhelm König found it near Baghdad. Qujat Rabu, a dusty little village south of the city. Inside a 5-inch clay jar, a copper cylinder, an iron rod, a plug of asphalt sealing it shut. It looked unmistakably like a battery, the kind you'd find in a physics textbook. Except this jar was nearly 2,000 years old. From the Parthian Empire, the civilization that ruled Persia and Mesopotamia while Rome was still fighting Carthage. König published his theory in 1938. He said this object generated electricity. Nearly 1,800 years before Alessandro Volta built the first modern battery in 1800. The claim sat there, quiet, mostly ignored. You were never taught this in school. There's a reason. Here's what makes it undeniable. Researchers didn't just theorize, they built copies, filled the copper cylinder with grape juice or vinegar, basic acid, the kind sitting in your kitchen right now, and the replica produced voltage, somewhere between 0.5 volt and 2 volts, measurable, repeatable. A television crew tested one in 2003 and it worked. Mythbusters tested one and it worked. This wasn't a fluke of one jar either. Archaeologists eventually cataloged around a dozen similar vessels scattered across Iraq, some pulled from sites even older. Same design, same components, copper, iron, asphalt seal. A civilization apparently mass-producing a working electrochemical cell, and no one wrote down what it was for. And that's not even the strangest part. Because once people accepted the thing could generate current, the theories got wild fast. Some researchers proposed electroplating, coating cheap metal objects in a thin layer of gold or silver, using electricity to bond the atoms. Archaeologists have in fact found gilded artifacts from the region with plating so fine it's hard to explain with fire and paint alone. Others went further. Priests, they suggested wiring these jars to metal idols. A worshipper touches the statue, feels a jolt, calls it divine power. A religious con job powered by chemistry nobody in the crowd could name. There's even a medical theory. Low-grade shocks use the way we'd use a TENS unit today to numb pain. Every explanation stranger than the last. And still no consensus. Still no textbook chapter. But here's what doesn't add up. If this was really a battery, where's the rest of the circuit? No wires were ever found. No light source. No tool that plugs into it. Nothing linking one jar to another. Just isolated clay pots, sitting alone in the ground, sealed with asphalt like storage vessels. Because that's exactly what some scholars think they were. Storage jars for sacred scrolls, the asphalt seal there to keep moisture out, the metal rods just structural. Two completely different readings of the same object. And you'd think that contradiction alone would make this the most famous archaeological debate in the world. Instead, most people have never heard of it at all. So why did it disappear from the conversation instead of dominating it? Follow the money, not cash, but reputation. Academic archaeology runs on credibility. And by the 1960s, ancient advanced technology had become radioactive territory. Fringe writers grabbed the Baghdad Battery and dragged it into ancient aliens territory, next to pyramid power and lost Atlantean tech. Serious historians watched that happen and made a calculated choice. Distance yourself, don't engage, because being associated with that crowd could end a career, kill a grant, get a paper laughed out of a journal. So the artifact got quietly shelved, not disproven, shelved. Filed under inconclusive and left to gather dust because saying anything interesting about it cost more than staying silent. Then came 2003, the Iraq War. Looters stripped the National Museum of Baghdad bare, 15,000 artifacts gone in days. The original jar was housed there. It vanished in the chaos along with the chance to ever run modern testing on the real thing. Not covered up by one decision. Buried twice, once by caution, once by war. So ask yourself what else got the same treatment. How many objects sat in a drawer somewhere, technically undisproven, just too inconvenient to defend in public? How much of the history you were handed isn't the full evidence, it's the evidence nobody was willing to risk their name on. The original battery is still out there somewhere, maybe in a private collection, maybe melted down for scrap. Nobody's tested it since 2003, and nobody's looking.